Well, I'm talking yet again with Colin Kniveton, the Department of Economic Development, about the Manx Grand Prix. I'd say, if nothing else, you've been very upfront with the media. We've been chatting about this now for some months and keeping us in the loop. I think it's probably quite a good thing so that the public understand what's happening here. You've now issued a press release about the future, as you see it anyway, for the Manx Grand Prix, but obviously that's not taking into account the organisers, in the sense the club. They're still out on this one. What are you proposing? Just sum it up for us.
Okay, well, as you mentioned, Paul, this exercise has been going on since November when we first started. Originally, we did the financial review to see what the scope of the problem was. We then embarked upon an internal driven market research exercise, which culminated in outcomes which the club, Manx Motorcycle Club, ourselves, various other parties were involved with. We had in excess of 2,300 questionnaires that were completed and returned to us, along with various focus group meetings.
I think we've touched on all that. I mean, really, I want to get to the nuts of it. Just exactly what do you think is going to happen?
So these proposals have come out of those market research results. And we've been very much driven, as have other parties, to the exercise by the outcomes. And then it's been a question of trying to frame a set of proposals based upon the outcomes of the market research that we think will enhance the event and allow it to go forward and in fact return it to the black, which is the exercise we started out to achieve.
Headline then? What's the headline?
Okay, the specific headline is that we see a shortened programme with a programme of 3 classic races, pretty much along the existing races that we currently have in the classic setup. But in order to accommodate the wishes and the input that we had from the Manx Motorcycle Club and others, that we've complemented those with 2 what we're calling Clubman's TT races. And they will allow some of the existing participants to continue to race, and also we will be structuring newcomers into those races. What we're trying to do then is link the MGP back to the TT, and we're discussing with, we've had some very early discussions, but these will be continuing with manufacturers and the teams to see if we can offer almost like a guaranteed entry into the TT for those who perform well in the Manx Grand Prix.
Manx Motorcycle Club, what do they think?
We're still discussing the issues with the club.
You've had meetings though.
We've had a lot of meetings with them.
But prior to this release, you've talked to them as well, haven't you?
We've talked to them very regularly, and I would like to think that the communication process that we've had with the club over the last few months has actually been very good. I think it's fair to say that there are still differences between our views and the club's views. The club are now going to take these proposals, they're going to be reviewing them, and we await their formal response in the near future.
They've been fairly quiet. I mean, I've had no contact with them. They haven't done much media. I mean, you're the one that's sort of driving this from the government's end, which, putting your message across. I'm surprised. I mean, are they therefore happy, or are they just not organised at the minute to respond?
Well, I think if you have a look at the club's website, you'll see that they have put out regular updates on the progress of the discussions. They've been very willing partners throughout this exercise. As far as the market research exercise, they were very much involved in the assessment of the results that took place. We've given them all the information that the team have put together with regards to those outputs. So yes, I think we have taken their comments on board with regards to what they wish to see as being the retention of some of the contemporary racing. But I think at the same time we had to recognise the very clear message that the market research gave us, that people really felt that we should be emphasising the heritage of the mountain circuit, the history of the racing on the mountain circuit, and giving more emphasis and theming the Isle of Man, perhaps in a way that is similar to that created at the Goodwood Festival, where there is very much a nostalgic approach to racing.
Leading on nostalgia, that's in your system here. Also, it appears that you spend more money promoting the Manx Grand Prix than the TT. Is that actually correct?
Certainly over the last couple of years, we've increased the promotional budget for the Manx TT, for the Manx Grand Prix.
Your figures here, Manx Grand Prix 95,000, TT just 80,000.
Yeah, the reason for that is a lot of the publicity that we get for the TT is actually paid for by parties other than ourselves. For instance, the NEC launch day in Birmingham. Because the TT is now such a huge attraction for events such as that takes place, we don't actually have to pay to go there. The organisers actually want us to be there so much because we add so many people to their gate that they encourage us to come. And we hope that we can start to build the Manx Grand Prix in a way that will recreate the image that the TT has got.
One of the sacred cows on your list here is you considering changing the name of the event. I mean, that is going to be a tough one, isn't it?
It is, and I think the jury's still out on that. We fully intend to continue dialogue with the club. There is some pretty strong advice from marketing people that the TT needs to be featured more.
Well, you just said it already, haven't you? You want to get TT in that name, don't you, somewhere?
Well, we're told that if we do that, more people will come, and it's very difficult to turn down the advice of marketing experts who've looked at this and given us advice. And these are people who aren't necessarily motorcycle enthusiasts, but they keep telling us that if you've got such a world-renowned brand as the TT, if you want to increase the second motorcycling event, why not try and leverage more off that brand? And it's a difficult argument to ignore.
Well, we'll talk more, Colin, very shortly.